Satnam. Welcome to the second chapter of the India story with me, Patwant. Rishikesh, the terrain of living saints and the foothills of the Himalayas, beckoned us. Armed with our pre-packed breakfast from our guest house, we were ready to rumble. We left for the train station in the dark. Our train was leaving Amritsar station at 6:50 a.m. and arriving in Haridwar at 13:50 p.m. I sat next to a Sikh man with a bright yellow turban on. The double thick train windows tinted the landscape that flicked by like an old sepia tone movie reel. Families unpacked food and ate, sipped chai tea and chatted. People embarked and disembarked at the stations along the way. The Haridwar platform was a maze of moving colour. We had a big bus waiting for us, so we were now looking down on the world from above. Just outside the station entrance, we got our first glimpse of Shiva in two forms. One, a peaceful white statue, and the other a large electric blue head with black hair, piercingly stark eyes, and bright red lips. It already felt more spacious here as we crossed the bridge over the glacial green Ganges. It's only a 30-kilometer drive to Rishikesh from Haridwar, but we were hungry, so stopped off en route for lunch and then continued on our way. The closer we got to Rishikesh, the thicker the vegetation got. The highway turns into a narrow winding road with dense jungle on each side. The sun was setting as we wound our way through this tropical tangle. The hazy, magical setting sunlight danced and played with us between the trees and the river below. We arrived at what felt like the back of Rishikesh and walked downhill towards the ashram we were staying at. Parmat Nikatan is the largest ashram in Rishikesh and is world-renowned. Puja Swamiji is the gracious spiritual leader here. It is situated on the banks of the Ganges River. This is our home for the next 4 nights. Evening Ganga Aarti had already started when we arrived, so we dropped our bags off in our shared rooms and headed down to the Ganga Ghat, where it is held. One of the meanings of Aarti is remover of pain. It is a sacred ritual that involves a fire ceremony that is infused with heart-opening chants with live musicians around a fire pit. Oil lamps are danced as participants sway, clap, and chant along, offering devotional prayers and gratitude to the divine with reverence and humility. This Ganga Aarti honors the Ganges River as a living, breathing, divine mother that purifies, cleanses, heals, transforms and liberates us. The mighty, benevolent Ma Ganga. What an incredible way to land in the arms of this sacred land where sages, rishis, seers and masters have walked for centuries, for lifetimes. We followed the lights and sounds of hundreds of people chanting and found a place amongst them and the well-fed stray dogs on the steps of the Ghat. A familiar massive statue of Shiva levitates above the flowing Ganga right in front of us. The smell of fire, resins, oils and incense fills the air. Barefoot, we each sent offerings of flowers, incense and candles held in a compact leaf-shaped boat down the river with our spontaneous prayers. Shiva has many names and forms and is known as the Adi Yogi, the first yogi. One of his names is Nilakante, blue-throated one. He is said to have eaten the poisons of the world and transformed it into divine nectar in his throat. This is often why he is depicted tinged in a blue hue. He reminds us that we can all harness this power of transmutation and transformation. His symbology and teachings are vast, a creator, a protector, and a destroyer. The last time I came back from India in 2011, I spent many nights tossing and turning. I would wake up in the morning drenched in a pool of sweat. One of these nights, I had an incredibly vivid dream. I was immersed underwater in Ma Ganga. I was being tossed, turned and tumbled down the river. The river's current was strong, and I had no other choice but to surrender to her. At one point I was lying face up, still deeply submerged, and moving rapidly down the river. I opened my eyes and saw the massive white statue of Shiva levitating above me, traveling down the river with me. I wrote this poem about the experience. Wisdom dripping like nectar off God-tipped tongues, I receive. In the presence of these souls, I am seen. In the presence of these great souls, I am humbled, healed, whole. In the presence of these souls, I am free. I sweat, I chant into the past, beyond lifetimes, beyond body, beyond mind, deeply submerged, spinning into spirit, seated in the power of presence. We dissolve, we strip, we shed the pain of fear, the fear of pain. The shadows gently leave. In this circle of souls, with these warriors of light, I gather, restitch and reclaim my strength. I reaffirm my pulsing purity, purpose. I shiver in the fire of this awakening. I cry silent tears into the rushing force. The rushing force of this precious river mother at my feet. She talks in loud whispers. When I dream, she floats me into her arms. With loving force, she washes me from lotus head to lotus foot. I awaken wet with her work. Shiva levitates above her, above us, catalyst, shaking us awake. A gentle prying open of heart. A warm sun, a blazing blue, goose pimple flesh blessed, a resounding reconnection with all these souls I have walked with before. From cell to soul I smile, bow in honor of this regathering of tribe, this acknowledgement of truth. In all the eyes mine gaze into, I see the delicate pattern of who I am, intricately interwoven, golden threads of connection. I sense no separation. I see with crystal clarity only oneness, one beautiful, vast, breathing being. It had been a long day of travelling from Amritsar to the safe spiritual haven of Parmat Nikatan. The name essentially means an abode dedicated to the welfare of all. Our luggage arrived in the middle of the night. Abhiji and Shiva baby kindly retrieved and delivered our bags to our rooms. Sleep slipped over us effortlessly after words drifted off into another world.